Hey, which car would you pick if you want a car that goes faster, if not as fast as a Golf R, but does it with plush comfort? Well, I will pick the Volvo S60. In fact, the Volvo S60, for me, is a little bit like a Swedish flag over here. Why? Not only because it's proudly Swedish, you know, but it's the design. There's a lot of squares around, like the Swedish flag. The front is square, the back is square, the inside have lots of squares. And just to remind you again, it's Swedish. They have a little flag on the seat with the Swedish flag over there. And what I like about this car, it brings in even a level of reminder of it being Swedish. It brings its Nordic ancestry. Yes, it brings Thor into the car. And in front there, the design of the front headlamps is what they call horse hammer. How awesome is that? All right. So this car is really Swedish. Or not, because right now, Volvo is now 99% controlled by Geely, a Chinese company. So have they messed it all up, or they made it even better? Have they turned this into a Chinese fried rice with Swedish meatballs on it? Or they have done something really excellent? Let's find out more in this review of the Volvo S60 T8. So I think to really appreciate what Volvo has done, let's look into the history of it, because what we see today as a car here today actually brings a lot of technology that was groundbreaking in the past. Now today I got a classic, a 204 Volvo, thanks to Adrian. Shout out to Adrian from NSS Service Center. This is lovely baby over here. We call it the yellow brick in the car club. Thanks Adrian. So a lot of the technology we see here today actually pioneered from this car over here. Let's start off with the history of Volvo, okay? So 1927, that's how Volvo was founded. It was founded by two gentlemen named Assad and also Gustav. Now, the funny thing is that they used to work for a company, a Swedish company named SKF. And how did the name Volvo come around? Volvo actually is the Latin name for roll. And that's suitable for ball bearing that rolls. Get it? So that's how Volvo actually started. Now Volvo have a lot of amazing stories I'd love to share with you. But let's come right over here. So the 204 and even the predecessor, the 124, have a lot of safety features that they've made, became today's benchmark for a lot of other motor vehicles as well. So in 1970s, right, they were so radical about making safety part of their car. They created this prototype called the VESC. But they tested a lot of different technologies in the car, including a reverse camera. How insane is that in the 1970s? That's how committed they are to safety. In fact, the philosophy of Volvo is that it's the people's car. And in that sense, it's all about taking care of the people in the car, even outside of the car. Let's talk about some of the technologies. The one that is really impressive is that this is the first car manufacturer that created something we call the crumple zone. So what it does is that when you go into a collision, the front part is designed to crumple up, to take up the impact of the collision, keeping the people in the car safe. And in fact, they've designed it in such a way that when you get in a collision, the engine drops, the gearbox drops and goes underneath, right? So it doesn't smash into you. Even the steering wheel flies away when you go in, it moves away in the collision. That's how much thought and process and research that is invested into this car. And no wonder they did more than 2.8 million of these cars during its production line. And the other things to notice at the crumple zone is they're the first one to create side crumple zones. So if you get T-bone, this car can withstand a T-bone. Again, this is 1970s, my friends, and this car is designed to handle those things. Even the top, even the freaking top, guys, they even did an advertisement where they stacked so many Volvo cars on top of each other and it wouldn't crumple. That's how solidly built this car was, even at the 1970s. Okay, so of many car manufacturers, I think Volvo actually retains its heritage, its purpose, its vision, its philosophy in the car that you see here today. In fact, it's not only in this car. All other cars today have these technologies. It is a standard, even at some point, the must-have requirement for the cars today. So Volvo has not done only a great job in translating the heritage forward into this car. You can say that a little bit of Volvo lives in all the cars around the world. So with that, thank you so much Volvo for making such amazing cars and technologies that right now protects people. Oh yeah, it's one thing to mention as well, something really awesome that Adrian taught me about. If you ever, back in the days, this car was so safe, okay? If you ever get into an accident in this car and you walk out of it alive, okay? You actually get a plaque from Volvo that to congratulate you that you survived from a car accident. How amazing is that? So this is Volvo's history. And I gotta tell you before I walk away, look at the design of this car. It does resemble, isn't it? They still keep it. They keep this boxiness and they bring it into the modern design language, which I really love. If there's any car that retains heritage as much, and I think one manufacturer has to be given credit, it is Volvo. And I'm so happy that Volvo survived to today. Some people might say that, hey, it's now being owned by Geely, but I'm really proud that it's still there. In fact, I feel that even though they've been through so many tough times, the time where they were sold to Ford, it was a dark time of Volvo, I feel, because the designs were, you know, not that exciting and it was not very blurred. And I'm very happy that Geely took over because it felt like Geely allowed Volvo to do whatever they needed to do. Although it's owned by Chinese, it's actually run by a Swedish CEO. So the philosophy lives on. And I think that's a very interesting part about business, isn't it? It's one way to look at business as the way to make money, but it's also, what I love is that how they carry on the philosophy as if the spirit of the founders still exists in today's car here today. In fact, in all other cars are said there. So I just love the Volvo story. I can't stop talking about it, but I gotta stop it right here. Thank you so much Volvo for creating cars like this and like this. Yeah! Volvos are known to be boxy and squarey. The question is, how have they integrated that into today's design? I think they do it really well. So let's look at the front first. So what they've done in the front is that the lines leading up to from the hood to the front actually pronounces the squarish front while making it not too boxy. So here you have the grille, which is very squarish and very iconic of the Swedish Volvo design. But they soften up the curve a little bit to make it look a little bit more modern, right? So you can't have this car look like an uncle car, right? Because they want to catch up with sales, right? So, and what they've done, what I really like is that they kind of make this a little bit less squarish by putting this a bit to the bottom, and that kind of makes it less boxy. Now, this is the R design over here, and the R design has this black sort of little lines that goes across the car over here, and I think it's really smart. And thank you so much Volvo Malaysia for bringing in the R design for the S60, because now it looks a bit more sporty, and versus the other two, the Momentum or Inscription, the one that has the vertical chrome lines coming down. So this is actually really sporty, and all this black plastic that comes along with it, the design makes the car look and feel a bit more befitting for a car of this segment over here. Now, let's go into the side here, which I really like. This is what we're talking about, guys. They are bringing in that heritage, you know, and they're putting into the car's design language. So, for those of you who don't know, Sweden is a Scandinavian country, and they have Viking and Nordic ancestry. And this design is what they call the horse hammer. See? I think that's really cool, that design over here. I love this so much. Okay, I think more car companies should be doing this. Now, going on the side, now they have this really sporty rims for the R design, which I really like. Big brakes, and these brakes are regenerative brakes that help you convert the braking energy to charge your hybrid batteries. Okay. Now let's go to the side over here. The lines on the side, they're not too aggressive lines, which I like again because it makes it look more pedestrian, a bit more like a sleeper. Okay. And Volvo never really had really aggressive lines on the side, which I really like. And now this one, I really appreciate this design over here. See this thing here? Right? They actually design in such a way that it's outside of the door. Now, it may be a small thing, but if you look at it, just imagine this inside here. The car would look less sexy. This one gives it a little bit of an edgy feel to it, which I really like. Again, it looks great in a modern setting, right? And it reminds me of a Hofmeister King, but in a more squarish way. It's really cool. I love it. Now, come to the back over here. The back, really squarish. Again, squares. And this pronounces the square in a way that doesn't make it look too boxy. And let's come down over here. The exhaust pipes. These are real exhaust pipes, okay, which is awesome because nowadays they have all these fake exhaust tree. So it's semi-real. Inside there you can see the exhaust, okay, but they're making it bigger. Make it slightly bigger with this design over here to make it look more sporty. So overall, I think Volvo has done a great job in incorporating what to be a boxy looking car as part of their heritage and bring it forward in a very modern interpretation. I think it's really tasteful. I think it all works together. And let me know what you think about the design in the comments below. Alright, that's what I think about the design. Now, enough of the design, let's go and find out how this car actually drives. And does it live up to its name? The silent Swedish sleeper. Let's find out more in the next segment of the review. Oh, wait, stop! Before we go on to the driving experience, you must make sure your car is insured. If you're looking to renew your insurance, please check out Evo Club Insurance. You can save up to 40%. 40%! Hey, don't want to save the money, you give Uncle Yap take your money and Uncle Yap go and buy a new Volvo for himself, okay? Link in the description below or go to evomalaysia.com. You can find out more details about how to get yourself 40% savings on the insurance premium, okay? This car is insured, so I can continue my journey. Hey guys, we're in the Volvo S60 T8 and right now we're on the highway, and the best way to describe the car's driving experience is this sound from back over here. So I'll start off with the sound. There's very little sound except for some tire roar because they're quite big, you know, to have it grippy for the 400 horsepowers and then and the torque that comes from both the twin charge engine and the battery. So you can't avoid that. So there's a bit of noise from the tire, but the wind noise is minimal. The next thing I started to notice is that the steering is soft, but it's a bit numb. It doesn't tell you much about the road. But again, you can say that it's a bad thing, or you can say that it works to its advantage. Because the Volvo, it's a car that you want to take it to your next destination in comfort. And I think in that perspective, it's really well done. The other added thing, let's talk about the driving feel. It's firm and confident in the highway. So altogether, it gives you a very confident highway cruiser. The comfort comes from the confidence itself, you know. And yet, if you need to get a little bit more speed, when you put your foot down, the engine and the hybrid system actually delivers. So it's a really good highway package, very quiet. And also, one more thing that I think kind of tops it up and does something that no other competitors can do. These seats over here. These seats are the most comfortable seats I've sat in. No kidding, I thought it was all marketing gimmick when they say, oh, this seat was designed with an orthopedic surgeon and stuff like that. I thought it was just a marketing gimmick, but I kid you not, this is the best seats in the business. It is really, really comfortable. So some brands can do all of these other things, but this seat is like it's an arbitrage. It's kind of like the hack to win the game. This is the best highway cruiser that you can find because of the comfort level it all puts together. The other like comfort technology and convenience technologies like a head-up display. So it's really, it tells you what are the speed limits in front of you, so you can always see it, you know, from the driver's perspective. It's right up there, you know, and that helps you again to make sure you're in the speed limit. And with the smart cruise control and the driver assist, again, you know, if you want to just kick back and relax a little bit on the highway, it will detect car speed ahead of you and brake for you. It will keep you in the lane itself. So adding all of that together, right? Adding all of that together on top of the comfort, best highway cruiser, you know. Either you have a car that's a lot of comfort but lacks power, right? Or some cars you have very confident chassis, you got a great engine, but then it doesn't give you the comfort like this car does. This one is an all-rounder. You have comfort, you have power, and you also have confidence. So that's the whole reason why I think this is a great package for the highway. So there's always a suspicion then, 400 horsepowers. Can this car be actually used on a spirited drive? We're about to find out right now. The car is on power mode, which is the sportiest setting. Oh dear, the four-wheel drive grips. Okay, it's a weird feeling because the steering's a bit numb. So it doesn't give you the impression of sportiness. And right away in the corners, you do feel its weight. It's heavy. It reminds you it's a 2-ton car, 2-ton plus car. It's not that confident because of how it leans into the corner. It's a bit soft, right? The brakes are okay, but it's not the best. So that's, again, like, you gotta give and take, right? But it digs you out from the corner. It sends you forward and it builds up speed really fast. But it doesn't reward you. Oh. Okay, I can keep my cornering lines. So favorite corner over here. Let's see how it does. Let's dig in and let's go. Oh, handled pretty well. Yeah, it's the complaint I have in spirited driving in this car is that you feel like there's a layer between you and the road, a very thick layer, thicker than the Mercedes. In a skillful driver, you can definitely keep up with a lot of cars. They'll give a car a lot of run for its money. Yeah, but then again, you got to ask yourself the question: is this car actually made for that purpose, to be driven spiritedly? No, this car is not built to be driven spiritedly. It's built to handle the highway miles, take it to handle the daily commute. You know. Oh, yeah, the back started jumping around a little bit. Okay. Yeah, it feels more like a front-wheel drive car, that's for sure. It's more front-wheel driven than rear-wheel, but you can use the throttle to pull you into the corner a little bit more. That's pretty smart. Okay, in that perspective, it's not bad. But again, because it's so insulated, you know, you have to, in the spirited driving part, you have to exert energy. You have to put more focus to feel where your car is. So in that perspective, in spirited driving, it is more tiring because you have to gauge where your car is, what the car is doing, without the feedback that's coming in. But my oh my, like, it does grip. It does grip. Just that not in the most comfortable way, not the most confidence assuring way where the car goes in and out of the corner. Right, let's dig in. Oh, come on, give me some Swedish meatballs. Oh, come on. So the tire roll is really soft. And it plays to a disadvantage here because I don't know whether the tire is squealing or not. I have to hear really closely to hear the tire squealing. Because when the tire squeals, you know that you're almost at the grip limit. Now, the more I drive it, in spirited driving, it's kind of frustrating because you're like rolling and driving when you reach and then you out of nowhere the car just starts whip. Yeah, you know, like some really sporty cars, you know, you have a linear feeling like, okay, grip, losing grip, loose grip, right? This one is like grip. You know, that's how it's like. There's no indicator when it's going to lose grip. There's no linearness to it. Without that, it gives you less confidence to push the car. Okay, let's talk about the gear shifting. So the manual gearbox is a bit lazy. What do I mean by that? The downshifts are very slow and hesitant, and the upshifts also slow, hesitant. Alright. It's a bit of a lag. But if you just leave it in the automatic mode and just smash the throttle, it'll do. But the pedals are not rewarding. But my oh my, I'm actually surprised that I can push this car. It can take the abuse. In summary, it's not a car that you want to drive spiritedly. Okay, it can take the speeds, it's competent, but it's not the car that you want to drive spiritedly. It's not a car that will make you feel rewarded driving spiritedly. Interior of the S60, which I think the interior is plentiful, luxurious, and is really, really nice. I'll start off by saying that I really like how the dashboard flows. Okay, it's very squarish, but in a very sleek and nice design. Okay, that's really, really cool. So it's really clean. There's very little buttons, so that's the first impression. Very minimalist feel to the cabin over here. Now, coming to the materials, I think the materials of this car feels really plush and nice, and I really like that this trim over here. You have this little bit like a brushed aluminium with pattern and stuff like that. Now over here you have the fabric on this car's design, which I think really works. It doesn't feel, you know, fabric is usually associated with being cheaper, but this one doesn't feel cheap, okay, and doesn't look cheap either, which I really, really like. And even the door itself, the feeling of the door opening and closing has that quality solid feel. Overall, I love the build quality. Let's come down to the center console over here. Now, what I really like about the center console is that it's big, it's huge, but what I don't like about it is the way it operates. You have to look away from your driving position to actually press the button. And another thing that annoys me, I feel not very nice in this car. Now, is the aircon, right? So in order to change the aircon's temperature, I'm driving, I gotta press this button, and I gotta choose the speed, or I gotta press this button and choose the temperature. So it requires more attention away from the driving, which is not ideal, really. Okay, so coming down here, you have these buttons over here which you hardly use because you'll be using the volume over here and stuff. The coffee cup holders, I love this. It's big enough to fit a flask like this and also to put into cubby spaces like this. Now, coming on to the gear knob. Now, the gear is a bit annoying actually, but there's a reason for it, You have, in order to go to reverse, you gotta hit the gear first to go to neutral, then you go to reverse. To go to drive, you gotta go neutral and then drive. The start-stop here, now this one is a little bit weird unless you get used to it. So it seems like they take the button here and you twist it over here. There's very minute design details that I really appreciate. There's this like diamond feeling, this texture for the drive mode and the start-stop button makes it feel a little tad more luxurious. Small things like this, I really love what Volvo has done. I think this has got to be the best interior feature of this car over here. Very well thought after, and this is the hallmark of Swedish ergonomics and Swedish design, I really like that, okay? Now, normally you have your phone plugged in for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, whatsoever. But check this out. You see, when you put this in here, you might bend these wires, then you might damage it, right? But check this out. You can put it in this little socket here, a little hole here. And what it does is that it allows your wires to not be flexed and be under tension. And then you close this. Look, your phone is like that. And you can take it out, you can unplug it, and off you go. And when you come back, you put it in without having to open this guy over here. Really, really cool design. I was so impressed that they actually designed something like this. It's freaking awesome. Oh yeah, since we're talking about the interior, there's something I forgot to show you, and I want to show this to you. Now if you look over here, there's this spot like there is a hole over here, and you think that, hey, this might be a design fault. But this is again the ergonomics focus of Volvo, built for people. It is designed in such a way so that it is easier to take your foot out so you won't hit your foot onto this wall over here, and that's something so small, but I think it's really worth mentioning because it's how much the heritage, the philosophy of it's a people's car, it works even in today's time. I think this is where the hallmark of the Swedish focus on ergonomics, and I think this is a really cool design, and it's really sweet, Volvo. Get it? Okay, for the boot space for the models in Malaysia that they bring in, they have this technology that allows you to open the boot with a kick. There you go. And then you can see the space of the boot is quite ample. You can slide in two bags here, or you can see two pretty large bags over here, and still load in a luggage. And you see in there, there's still a lot of space. You can fit in two of these guys, no problem, a medium-sized luggage. But you still got a lot of space to go on. Now the only problem you have with this car is that this version in Malaysia, the CKD ones, you cannot fold the seats. So this is as much as you get, But if you don't have to fold the seats, if you're just carrying luggage and all, it is ample enough. Now there's one more thing which I think is maybe a bit annoying in this car, is that you have this button over here that says that you would think that it will automatically close the boot for you, and it doesn't. What it actually means is actually the car will lock when you put down the boot. So you have to shut down with your hands. Thanks Volvo, allowed me to do a bit of exercise, okay? But it's a small thing, it shouldn't bother you from making a decision to purchase this car over here. So we're about to go into the conclusion of the Volvo S60 T8. If you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and help me smash the like button for me. And also, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications if you want to get more content like this in the future as well, okay? So let's come on to the conclusion of the S60. So what do I think about this car over here? I think it's a brilliant car. And for its price range, around 280,000, I think it provides a more compelling package than its competitors. And if you're seriously considering either the C-Class or the 3 Series, you should definitely put your hands and try one of these cars over here. It's extremely comfortable, and I think it provides comfort that in its class, probably the best. The ride comfort, the drive comfort, and all the convenience. And if you're a person that don't really like driving, okay, you use cars as a means of transportation, this car does it very well. It makes all the miles easier to drive and much more comfortable when you arrive at your destination. See, if you're like me, you like to have a variation of cars that give you lots of excitement. It can be a classic, it can be a modern car, but you have these cars that stimulate you so much. But this car is soft and it cocoons you in comfort, so that those cars can be reserved for exciting drives. Whereas this car over here gives you the feeling of comfort and plush. It allows you to relax when you drive. Okay, so even I, right now, as a car enthusiast or a really spirited driver, I'm really considering if I one day would like to have a car that does my daily miles, I will not look anywhere else but the Volvo S60 or maybe the Volvo V60 because I like the station wagon a little bit more. So that's it for this episode of Thomas Drives. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you do, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want more content like this as well in the future. And please don't forget to also check out my colleagues' videos. I put the card up here. Check out some of my colleagues' reviews and in-depth walk around of the Volvo S60 as well. Okay? So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next episode of Thomas Drives. Thomas out.